Oh, I see. So
Yeah.
it hasn't been settled
It
yet.
hasn't been settled, no.
And there are still a number of um, war resistors
Yes,
in Canada.
yes, and there's the War Resisters support campaign in Canada. You can find that on the net as well. And in the United States, there's the GI Rights Hotline, and I think their website is girightshotline.org. But people can find that as well. And the GI Rights Hotline helps GIs today who have trouble with the military, want to get out of the military, whatever. And they're getting 3,000 calls a month.
Right. Can we talk a little bit about the case of First Lieutenant Aaron Watada? I understand that you're working on that campaign.
Yes, I'm part of the Watada Support Committee. I'm on the Watada National Steering Committee for the national campaign as well. First Lieutenant Aaron Watada was the first Army officer to publicly refuse orders to Iraq. He's up in Fort Lewis. They've got him on desk duty, basically. He had one court-martial that ended in a mistrial. And basically it ended in a mistrial because he was winning and the judge didn't want him to win, so he forced a mistrial, and he outright lied in order to do that. And then the Army wanted to try him again. His lawyers took it to the Army courts. They refused to do anything about the fact that it was double jeopardy trying a person for the second time. So finally he went to a civilian federal court, and a Judge Settle, who had been appointed by President Bush only a week before he got the case, came out with a preliminary injunction forbidding the Army to go forward with any more court-martials until he comes out with a final decision, which he's in the middle of studying the case now. It's very interesting that a judge that was just appointed by President Bush still found against the Army. And this guy also was a former military JAG officer.
Wow.
So.
Well, we're seeing, I think, little by little, we're beginning to see people we never expected to stand up.
Right.
Because,
right.
Doing the right thing ultimately is the test.
That's right. And I think a lot of people in the military, from the privates all the way up to the generals, are struggling with the same kind of issues around the morality, the legality,
exactly.
just the common sense of this war.
Yeah, it's an illegal war.
Right.
And that's clear.
Right.
And it was started on a false premise, and it continues on a false premise.
Right.
That there were weapons of mass destruction and all that.
Right.
One of the things that I wanted to discuss with you a little bit was the recruiting that's going on. The recruiters are going to high schools. There's a lot of resistance, but there's a lot of really nasty tactics on the part of the recruiters. Would you discuss that a little bit?
Yeah, the recruiters go out and they tell these young kids who don't know, anything about the military. You'll learn a trade, you'll get money for school, you won't have to go to Iraq, don't worry, we can get you in where you won't carry a weapon and you won't go to Iraq and you won't be doing combat duty. And, none of that is true. First of all, no matter what your military occupational specialty, if you're in Iraq, the war is everywhere. Second of all, the promises that the military makes to you about what kind of training and what kind of job you're going to have, they can violate that at any time. There's fine print in there that people don't read that basically says if there's a military need for you to do something else, the military can just do whatever they want at any time.
And they've been doing just that. A lot of National Guards people have been, forced to do more than a couple of tours, and
that's right.
They
in
never
Iraq.
Signed up for war to begin with.
Right.
So,
and people don't understand that these people signed up with the military to defend the United States.
Right.
But that's not what they're doing in Iraq. What they're doing is they're waging a war of foreign conquest in order to enrich a few rich people at the top of the big oil companies, Halliburton, Blackwater. Basically they're enriching a few rich people who are George Bush's friends. That's what
Of
it amounts
course.
to. They're not defending
The
this
oil
country.
barons.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
big time. And they're losing money all over the place. They lost $9 billion. Now there's another discrepancy of $1 billion that just popped up, and just money is just flowing all over the place. They were literally carrying bricks of cash over there in trucks. It's amazing, and it's your tax dollars, folks.
That's right. Yeah.
That is just being poured down a rat hole. And just a few very, very rich rats are benefiting.
That's right. That money that disappears, most likely it goes into the hands of a few rich rats. That's the most likely place that it goes to.
Exactly, exactly. How can people support the war resistance movement today?
The GI Rights Hotline actually always needs volunteers, so people who have good verbal skills and good interpersonal skills can volunteer for the GI Rights Hotline. People can also go to any of the websites of these organizations and donate money. There's the GI Rights Hotline, there's the War Resistance Support Campaign, there's Iraq Veterans Against the War, there's Courage to Resist, there's Veterans for Peace, Gold Star Families for Peace, Military Families Speak Out. Any of these organizations have websites. People can go there, they can donate. They can volunteer to help. There's lots of things they can do.
We haven't mentioned Afghanistan. Are the war resistors also dealing with Afghanistan?
In terms of the military, there's a lot. Most of the troops who have gone to Afghanistan and gone to Iraq, they know each other, they talk with each other. So the GI resistance, people tend to focus a lot on Iraq because that's where most of our troops are, or the larger number of troops are.
Yeah. And how many are there now?
Well,
Just
the latest
ballpark.
figure was something like 140,000.
And don't they have an equal number of mercenaries there now?
That's what we think. Yes.
We have a call coming through.
Oh, okay.
Hello,
Yes.
caller, you're on.
Hi. I just have
Could
a
you speak
question.
up, please?
Hello?
We can't hear you.
Yeah, my question was, is there a way to prohibit government from taking this tax money since, they're basically not doing the right thing with it?
Your transmission is breaking up. I can't quite hear
Do
you.
you mind repeating that question for us one more time?
We're having a little technical difficulty.
Is there... Hello?
Yes.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Is there a way to prohibit the government taking people's tax money?
Is there a way to prohibit